When we think of rules, oftentimes we think of very structured, written rules that we have to follow. Maybe rules for a classroom, or my favorite are rules for the pool. If you ever go swimming at a public pool, if you go to a hotel, it usually says things like, children under 16 should be accompanied by an adult, and you should not pee in the pool, and so forth. But rules are actually usually unwritten prescriptions that indicate what behavior is required, preferred, or prohibited in certain contexts. And our conversations are very much governed by rules, but they are contextual and they're based on the relationship that you have with the other person. Rules are going to specify behavior. And I want you to think of an example of you and an acquaintance that you have in a class. So a classmate. And before class starts, you get there a little bit early and you begin to have a conversation with them. What rules are going to predict how you'll greet that acquaintance? Is it okay when you greet the acquaintance to touch them, or is that prohibited? Is it a preference that you sit next to them, in front of them, behind them? Is it acceptable for you to ask them personal questions in the conversation, or should you only ask them questions related to class and to being a student? Rules are also contextual, and those rules are going to change when the context changes. For example, your history with the other person. If you have developed a history through the course of a semester, I bet some of those rules that govern your interactions are different from the beginning of the semester to the end of the semester. Also, the physical location, that aspect of context, when it changes, may change the rules. So you see a fellow classmate outside of the classroom context and in a different physical environment. How may the quality of your interaction change? How may the topics change that you cover? What about relational context? What happens when maybe the acquaintance becomes a closer friend? You start doing things with them outside of class, hanging out with them. Does that change your rules and how you speak with them in the conversation? Probably so, because rules are definitely contextual. Also, rules have to allow for choice. That is, there's not some rigid set of rules that govern everything that you do. You have to have options. You have to have alternatives. There have to be more than one way to greet that classmate, more than one way to proceed in a conversation. So this is just some general characteristics of rules, and we looked at one particular application, a classmate and a friend, but another common context that we found ourselves in on a regular basis is that with our family. So I want you to think about rules in your own family context. My favorite is the dinner table, because my family always sat down to eat at the dinner table, but I realized very quickly that a lot of families, they don't sit down at the dinner table. They have other rituals related to family mealtime, and it's based upon their schedules and their convenience and their own family's history. So, is it okay to talk with your mouth full at dinner, or would that be just a horrible violation of a family rule? Is it okay to be a little bit more informal at dinner time, or are you supposed to be very formal at dinner time in your conversations? Is it appropriate to have a serious concern expressed at the dinner table? Are there maybe other places that you talk about serious matters with your family? Is there a spot that you go to have those serious kinds of conversations? Are you able to freely express yourself in conversations with your family? Or are there certain topics that you're not supposed to cover, certain ideas that you're not supposed to express, and those are sort of the unwritten rules? You'd be surprised at how many rules there are that govern our conversations, the topics that we're able to cover, the way that we can progress through those conversations, the physical context, the rules related to interruptions. So those are things to consider. I know that right now in my family, a rule that we're trying to teach our two young children, especially our 3-year-old, is that it's not okay to interrupt mom and dad when they're having a conversation. That you need to wait until there's a pause in the conversation. It's so hard for him. He runs up and he wants what he wants right then and there. And he's so cute. He looks up at me with his blue eyes and he says, "Mama, mama, mama, mama." And I have to remind him, "Micah, you need to wait till there's a pause in the conversation, and then mama will give you her full undivided attention." But that's a rule that we're trying to teach him. And your family has their own set of rules. Your friends have their own set of rules. Your acquaintances, your classmates. And you have to remember those rules are going to change. They're context specific. And you have to have some alternatives. You can't be so rigid in the way that you interpret those rules. Now, the cooperative principle guides our conversations in that we understand that we want conversations to be mutually satisfying. We want them to be enjoyable. And when contributions are made by conversationalists that are in line with the purpose, the reason for the conversation, then we're going to be more satisfied. So it's important that you understand some basic, what we call conversational maxims, so that you can follow them. Also, it's important that you understand why you're talking with the other person. Is it relational maintenance? Is it to solve a problem? Is it to have social interaction and to bond with another individual? Is it to receive esteem? What is the purpose for your conversation? That's going to help you to be more satisfied with your conversation.